Thank you for returning to the Style Journal, where style is beyond the aesthetic. I'm your host, Dr. Tucker, and today's focus is State Board Prep for Nail Technician Licensure. Our service today that we're focusing on is the nail enhancement using a form, also known as the sculptured or acrylic nail. The service prior to this, to the sculptured nail, is the blended tip, of which you're going to keep out the following products. You're going to keep the nail dehydrator out. You're going to keep the nail antiseptic out. You're also going to keep the alcohol out. And from the second service, which is the basic manicure, you'll keep the cuticle oil on the table as well. Okay, so at this time, you're going to wait for the proctor to give you instructions. The first service, which they will give you 10 minutes to do, and that is a table setup for the sculptured nail. They will let you know you have 10 minutes and that you may begin. So you're going to go into your kit bag, which is the black bag. You're going to take out the service bag. The service bag is, and please be sure to close your bag back up. The service bag will be labeled Topic 4 Nail Enhancement. So take out your bag, and then you will proceed to disinfect the table, because each time you do a service, you have to make sure that the table is clean and disinfected. So you're going to first sanitize your hands, place gloves on, and I would just grab one paper towel, move these items. Replace those items over here, and don't forget to spray your armrest. You're going to throw your paper towel into the single use, and making sure that you pinch the gloves at the wrist area and encapsulating the outside on the inside of the gloves. The disposable gloves, you will dispose of those in the bag labeled single use. And then I'm going to sanitize my hands again, because I'm going into the bag, the service bag. Okay, so first thing I'm going to take out will be my towel. Okay, and files, orange wood stick, my acrylic brush, my nail brush, lint-free nail wipes, damping dish, my liquid monomer, and my polymer, making sure that it is odorless. It has to be odorless with a manufacturer's label on it. Your nail forms, a block buffer, your nail primer. This is a non-acid primer. Your dropper for your monomer liquid so that you don't waste liquid. A cuticle pusher as well. Now your service bag goes into the trash bag labeled single use. Okay.
Your hand right here.
Okay. Thank you. And of course, can't do anything without the hand. All right. And then you would stop. They will then evaluate your table setup, and they will then instruct you. You have 20 minutes for the time allotted to actually create that sculptured nail. Now, just so you know, your products cannot be opened. So I'm just showing you what this would look like at State Board. So your film here, the foil has to be intact, along with your liquid monomer seal here as well, okay? But just for demonstration purposes, this liquid and powder has already been opened. Okay, and we're gonna go right, and I'm just gonna place this off to the side. Now, they have instructed me to begin, so using my dropper, I'm going to go into my liquid, my monomer liquid. And as you can see, this liquid has a little bit of a tint to it. It's a little pink lavender. That is one of the indications that it is a odorless product. Not odor-free, but odorless. It does have a hint of a chemical smell. Always recap your product. Make that a habit. Okay. And we're going to work right out of the jar for the polymer powder. And I always like to have a paper towel underneath while I'm working, because I don't want to get any product on a nice clean towel. Okay, so now I'm going to sanitize the hand of the mannequin representing the client. Always preferring the client over myself first. Then I'm going to sanitize my hands, recap your product. So we are going to do the universal nail prep. And I think I'm going to use the index finger as my nail to perform my sculptured nail, acrylic nail enhancement. So you want to first push back the cuticle. You want to remove the shine off of the nail using a block buffer. And please be sure that when you purchase your mannequin hands that you place a nail on to represent the natural nail. Then I'm going to take my nail brush and remove any debris or dust. I'm going to cleanse the nail with the nail antiseptic. Just spray one time. I'm going to apply nail dehydrator, making sure to release some back into the jar. Do not oversaturate the nail. Recap your product. Now I'm going to take this plastic off. Going to put that in the trash. Okay. And again, releasing some of that product back into the jar. And applying a light coat of your non-acid primer. Now, so our nail is prepped. As for forms, these are disposable forms. You have various forms. There's no right or wrong form. It's really personal preference. So you want to peel off the wax paper. I like to keep this little tab because you may need it to secure the form. Tear the perforated area here. Roll the form because you want to create somewhat of an arch. Okay, like here. Now we want to place this form on snugly under the free edge of this natural nail. So first you want to secure the sides. Then on top of the finger, make sure that's nice and flat. Once you do that, just pinch a little bit here. You don't want this too closed in. You still want to have that arch here. Okay? Check the form from the side. Make sure that it's right underneath, that there's no gap between the form and the natural nail. I also like to prop my hand up using a block buffer. And before we get started, you want to always prime your brush. So that means you want to saturate your acrylic brush with the liquid monomer because it's dry and it's been sitting. So once you've primed your brush, you want to go in. I always like to settle my polymer powder like that so I can be clear when I'm creating a nice balanced ball. You can just place this brush right in the powder, right on top, and I'm going into very small circular motions. Okay, it should look a little grainy. It shouldn't look too wet or shiny because it's absorbing the liquid from the brush. Place that bead right there where the natural nail and the form meets. Using your lint-free nail wipes, just one, because these are, I'm not gonna say pricey, but we wanna be frugal in our the use of our products. Using the belly, now see how that came up? This is where this little tab comes in, and I'm glad that happened. You can go right under here to secure the form from not coming off of the finger. Now, using the belly of the brush is like in the middle, and you want to press down. Acrylic is very pressure and angle sensitive, so you want to press down just slightly until you see the product begin to spread out, and you want to keep your brush at 0 degrees. That means completely flat. Okay, all right, using the side, the form has lines, so work all of your tools. I'm going to go back in. Now, when I go back in my liquid, I'm not taking this brush all the way back in, just the tip of it, because it's a natural haired brush and it's going to naturally pull the liquid into the brush. Again, balance your powder. Okay. Tap any loose powder. Now I'm going on the side because it did not spread out as much as I may have wanted it to. Now, see how it's beginning to look really shiny and wet? That means you don't want to put any more liquid into that product. So I'm wiping my brush off. And now my angle is not 0, but it's somewhat 45 to push that product toward the cuticle area. Okay, and you don't have to overwork your product. Just touching it in different angles will allow it to move where you want it. Okay, wipe your brush off. Go back into the liquid just a little bit. Release, settle your powder, and go back in. You want the product to face up, and now you're going to turn your brush to release the product off of the hairs of the brush. Now that particular ball was a little dry, so I'm not going to wipe that brush off. I'm going to allow the liquid in the brush, the liquid monomer, to go back into that ball so that it merges with the prior product that was applied. Going back into my, now it doesn't matter how many applications of product that you use, as long as the finished product, now see where that's dry, you can take that off. Now I am allowing the liquid from the brush to go into that product. And based on where I see the need, that's the angle in which I'm patting the acrylic. Now I'm going to take light strokes and brush the new product over the previously applied product. Okay. I'm going back into my liquid. One thing I just recall that we did not pack in our kit or our service bag is brush cleaner. I personally, and see, I'm placing that ball right, I'm not going too close to the cuticle, because remember, when we press down on that acrylic, it's going to spread out, so you don't want to get too close to the cuticle. In the industry, when you learn how to use the various products as a nail technician, I go between acetone and brush cleaner. And why? Product that is specifically designed to be brush cleaner has conditioners in that product to keep the hairs of the brush soft, because it is a natural haired brush. It's the red sable. Sometimes I use acetone because it cleans the brush quickly. Okay, so now the nail is formed. At this time, this is when, if I had my brush cleaner, I would be cleaning my brush. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go back into the liquid, because each time you go back into this liquid with the brush that you're retrieving polymer powder and creating balls, there's powder in these hairs. And each time you go into the liquid, the monomer, you are releasing some of that powder. That's why you always use a separate damping dish for your monomer liquid and not going directly into your original liquid. The powder is going to weaken the strength of your acrylic. So now we want to absorb some of that liquid, or most of the liquid. Throw this away. Okay, so this needs to dry, and it needs to cure all the way through. Now, one thing about this odorless product, and I'm sure those of you who are experienced with doing nails noticed that it gives you a lot of working time, unlike the traditional acrylic, which is good for those who are just starting out in the industry. So the way we check to see how dry this acrylic nail is we tap on it with the end of our acrylic brush. Okay, hear the difference? That's the clear clicking, and then that's somewhat dull. That lets you know that this part is dry, and it should be, because this is where we started the nail. Because that's dry, I can now take this form off, because that will get in the way of me filing and shaping my nail. And be careful. So this is very interesting, because in the beginning it didn't want to stick at all, and now it doesn't want to come off. So let's just be careful with that. Okay, very good. Okay, great. Now I'm going to throw this away in the single use. Taking my file, if you were to touch this, it's sticky, it's tacky. This is called the inhibition layer. We need to file this off going in one direction, and that's the only time with an acrylic nail that you have to go in one direction. The reason you have to go in one direction is because it's like a gummy residue. So if I'm starting over here, I'm going to go in one direction. You see how it's starting to roll? That's what the odorless product does. So now, because if I went back and forth, it would be a mess. So you want to go in one direction, so we can file that off. Okay. Once we file that off, let's check again. Okay, now that sounds good. Now we can go back and forth. I always like to do the area around the cuticle first, because that's where you want to be careful. I'm going to adjust my light. Then making sure that it looks like it's growing right straight out of that nail bed. Now, if you notice, I keep holding the nail with my thumb. Given that we're only doing one nail, I don't want to risk the nail coming off or anything like that, because it could possibly have some more curing time, because we are only doing one nail. Okay, so now I'm going to look at this from the front, straight on. It's a little bit of perfecting there. Be a little rounded there. Let's see, check this side. Okay, now we're going to buff smooth with the white block buffer. Then instead of using the nail antiseptic, because this is a more expensive product than alcohol, I tend to always recommend that we use alcohol just to save money. And with one more nail wipe, and see, we've only used 2 nail wipes, right, in this entire service. You want to wipe that nail and the finger and hand dry and free of any dust. I think I'm gonna brush it a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, sometimes using these files that are black, it leaves behind a little bit of that sanding bits. And also, what I'm going to do, just so it looks nice and clean, I'm just going to shake this paper towel out in my bag labeled single use, and I might even fold that back just so it's nice and clean, so when the examiner comes over, they will see that, hey, our table is nice and clean. I'll straighten up, and then I'm going to sanitize my hands, because this is the end of the service portion of topic number 4, nail enhancement. Okay, so when you sit back, that will signify to the proctor that you are ready for them to examine your nail. They will take a look at the nail, examine it, and then they will instruct you. You have 5 minutes to clean up. Okay, so I'll move this hand to the side. Single use, single use. And as a matter of fact, what I like to do, which is a better way, I could have used that paper towel, but take a paper towel and absorb this liquid. Do not pour these acrylic liquids down into your sink, the pipes of your sink. They will definitely compromise your plumbing. So this, of course, goes in the trash. This is multi-use, that goes into multi-use. Make sure this is tight. Your polymer powder, make sure this is closed and tight. Your liquid, that's product that can be reused, of course. And we will not be using any or doing any more nail services. So everything except for your hand sanitizer can go into your multi-use bag. Your nail brush certainly can be disinfected. Your hard plastic cuticle pusher can be disinfected, and also definitely your nice acrylic brush. And keep your brushes clean and free of any acrylic product. These brushes should last you years. Okay, that goes in your multi-use. Now this is a washable and sanitizable file. If it's not labeled here or on the spine of the file, then you would assume, like this one, that it's single use. Okay, so this is single use, this is multi-use. Multi-use, single use. Of course, these are disposable, but for the sake of State Board, I want to lean to the side of precaution when you are signifying what is single and reusable. Technically, these are all single-use items, though they haven't been used. I would put these into the single use. And of course, my towel is multi-use because I can launder that. And I'm going to sanitize my hands one more time prior to putting on my gloves. Now it's time to disinfect because this is at the end of the service. So I'm going to put this over here. Oh, my gloves. Almost forgot. Always, always put your gloves on prior to disinfecting. We want to protect ourselves from harsh chemicals. And don't forget this armrest. It's very important. Okay. This goes in a single use. Disposable gloves, of course, goes into single use. Sanitize my hands. And that concludes our demonstration of the sculptured nail, aka acrylic nail, a nail enhancement using a form. I hope that was helpful. Thanks again for tuning in to the Style Journal, where style is beyond the aesthetic.